Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Lens back again with another video. So today what we're going to do is give you like a buyer's guide to crop sensor camera. So last time we spoke about full frame camera and we sort of ranked some of the camera that came out and some of the features that we expected, some of the features that were nice and some of the features that we think was important. And now we're going to be ranking up crop sensor camera from the major manufacturer. And so just heads up, Lumix is not part of the list because they don't have any crop sensor, just like Fuji was not part of the list on the full frame one because they don't have any full frame. So subscribe to the channel. This video is going to be interesting. So what I've done is I went online because talking about all of this camera on top of my head would definitely be very, very hard. So what I've done is I went online and I opened here, for example, I have the Nikon website because on the DP review, I don't have all the spec for the Nikon Z50 Mark II. So Nikon released the Z50 Mark II, I think, in October. And it came 5 years after the Z50 Mark I, 5 years. And they only have, I think, two crop sensor camera. The good thing is they have the Z mounts that can go on all of the camera. And these are the major specs of the camera, as you can see. But the only issue I have is actually the 20 megapixel or 21 megapixel, because I think at this day and age, for a crop sensor camera, we need at least a 33 megapixel or 26 at the minimum. 33 is actually acceptable because it gives you now cropping ability, so forth and so on. So Nikon released this camera and it's selling for how much at the moment? Let's just see, $1,500, somewhere there. That's the price I think it generally goes for. It does have some good specs, but one of the major issue I have is that 21 megapixel sensor. As you can see here, it shoots 4K, 10 bits, very important. 10 bits is the minimum that all the cameras should have at the moment. I know Nikon has been doing some amazing stuff on the camera recently, and that is actually something that needs to be commended as well. So in terms of video, it does some flavor of video, but not so much, and that is unfortunately the issue with some of this camera. As you can see, it doesn't do a lot of different video. You will see, for example, with the Canon and the Sonys and the Fuji, you have a lot of different views of the camera. So it does 4K, obviously UHD, and you have also 1080p. It's 4K you have at 60 frame. It's a cropped 4K. I think it's said somewhere here anyway, but it is cropped. And you have 1080p at 120 at 100, and you have also the slow-mo as well. So that is pretty much it. The file format is MOV and MP4, and the video compression, you have it 8 bits and you have 10 bits and you have H.246, and that's pretty much it for this camera. It's actually a very good camera because it has everything that you need in terms of inputs, but it's a micro HDMI as well, so which is a little bit of a bummer there. So that's what it is for this camera. So the next one we're going to be talking about is the Canon EOS R7, and this camera came out in 2020, and this is probably one of the best Canon camera for me because it has that 33 megapixel actually, which is something that I appreciate a lot. You can crop, as you can see, the price point of this camera is 1.5. That at least when it came out, but I'm sure you can find it for cheaper now because it's been around for quite some times. The ISO performance, and this is one of the only camera I've held with me. I actually held this camera, and it's actually the body size and everything on this camera feels really good. The mount is the RF, and the video specs, as you can see here, we have quite a lot of them. It shoots very good video, and this is one thing that I am very surprised Canon was able to put on this very tiny camera. And they didn't hold back actually on the R7. I think we need an R7 Mark II because I think this one has a video limit of 30 minutes, and I don't know why. Canon has been doing that, and for the size of this camera, actually it is a very big camera. For the size of this camera, I do not know why Canon has put a micro HDMI here. Really, I am very much surprised. So if we look here, Canon R7, so it's annoying that a camera of this size, because the size, it is quite beefy. I don't know why Canon has put a small size HDMI. There we go. So you can see here, the HDMI is a small size one, and I do believe that there is enough space on this side to put all of these ones. So there. I do believe that there is enough space between these two, the USB charging cable and the HDMI, to be able to put a full-size HDMI. I really do not know why Canon keeps doing this, and it will always, really, pretty much always astonish me. And you can see even in terms of size, it's just as close as the Canon R6. So really don't know why Canon keeps doing this. But anyway, after that camera, the one we're going to talk about is the Sony A6700. So this camera came out in 2023. Oh, quite a beast of a camera as well, to be honest. 26 megapixel, I think that's just the sweet spot. Wish to have a little bit more, but 26 is more than enough. You can crop and all of those shenanigans. We all know our Sony's ISO performance is really good. It goes from 100 to 32,000 expandable to 102,400. So these are all the video specs that this camera can shoot at. You know for yourself. You even have 4K 120. This is the only camera that I think does 4K 120. All the camera do them in 1080p, and it's uncropped. That's good. So micro HDMI as well, which is something I'm never going to be a fan of. But anyway, next one is the Sony FX30. This camera also has a 26 megapixel. I think it's the same sensor as the one in the Sony A6700. So it has the same video specs as well, but this one obviously doesn't overheat. There is no record limit on both of the camera, which is one thing I really appreciate with Sony. And so pretty much the same camera, just different body. And then the next one we're going to be talking about is the Fuji X-T5. So the price point, as you can see, are pretty similar for all of this camera. The Sony came out at 1,400 body only. This one is at 1,800. It's actually the same price as the Fuji, but as a better video camera, it is much better as a video camera. But the Fuji X-T5 has that 40 megapixel that I have used on the X-T50 as well as on the X100 VR. Very good in terms of video, in terms of photography. So it's an amazing sensor. This is not very centric video camera, but it does do video, and it does do it very well. So if you want more specs, it's pretty much the same spec as the Fuji XS20, if not even better, because it does open gates as well. So most of the specs are the same. And then we have the Fuji XS20, which is also a camera that I've used. It came out in 2023, and it's actually very affordable. This will be probably the best option for camera for me. Personally, I would actually advise people, if you're looking for a camera and if you want it with a good lens, go for this one. This will get you going. The Fuji XS20, probably the best camera if you are just starting out your YouTube and you want a crop sensor camera. And I always advise people that this camera is, it's only one SD card slots compared to all the other one that have a few more SD card slots. This one, but it is a very good camera, and I've used it. You can customize it at your liking, and you have a little bit more customization, and you can have that banks on top with a dial, which gives you the possibility to put a lot of your custom modes, and it makes shooting with that camera just a breeze and very easy and very simple. That is something that I appreciate about this Fuji. So those are some of the cameras that I think you could be interested in, and I personally think that we need a refresher for Canon. That's one thing. Canon last crop sensor camera, I know there are a few other ones, but they're not as good as the R7 around the R7. All the other cameras, they are fine, but some of them shoot 8-bit videos. You can't have a camera shooting 8-bit video. Fuji released the XM5 that shoots 10-bit video for $899. Granted, it has a few features that are not there. It has a few cosmetic changes, a lot of cosmetic changes actually, but $800, you can imagine, $899, you can imagine. And Canon hasn't released a new camera, a new crop sensor camera in few years now. So they've been focusing on full frame, which is fine, which is the bigger bread as well. It actually makes a little bit more money, but this is so sad. So I'm really waiting. I'm really hoping that Canon will release a new R7 Mark II, because we need a refresher on that camera. So all the other brands have new camera. I'm a little bit also kind of disappointed with the Z50 Mark II, because even in terms of spec, it doesn't really look as good as the other camera that I've checked, but it is good enough. Canon has a flip out sensor. The A67 is a flip out sensor. The the FX30 also has a flip out sensor. I think the Z50 does also have a flip out sensor. They created, yes, it does have a flip out sensor. The Fuji XT5 doesn't have a flip out sensor. The XS20 does have, and the XM5 also does have a flip out sensor. A flip out, why am I saying sensor? A flip out screen. So all of those cameras can have a screen flipping out. We know Canon has been like doing it for quite some time. But I actually wish that they put that articulating one that goes up and out as well. The one that's Panasonic has used, as well as Sony has kind of mastered in in this latest A7R4 and the A1 Mark II as well. So if we can have that sensor, I'm really sold on that. But as I said, right now I'm looking forward to getting a full frame camera. But this is very good if you're starting out and if you really need a camera that you can just start with no fuss and nothing really. I'll see you guys in the next video, and subscribe and peace out.